A busy Monday here at the NFL annual meeting as we heard from both Sean Payton and George Payton, and we're here to break it down. I'm Phil Milani alongside Aric DiLalla, stuck in the desert here.
That's right.
Some of the cacti behind us. Aric, we heard from Sean Payton this morning at the AFC coaches breakfast. Had a lot to say. I think the biggest thing that stood out to me was that while watching the tape last year, he said that some of the offensive tape was hard to watch.
Yeah, hard to watch. He looked at some of the individual players, Greg Dulcich, for example, hard to evaluate, he said, get a true evaluation of some of these guys because of how the offense looked. George Payton later said that the offense was broken last season, so certainly not pulling any punches there in terms of the evaluation of what this looked like last year. And listen, we know there were problems. The injuries were part of it. Sean Payton brought up kind of the same thing he's brought up all along. When you go 5-12, there's dirt on a lot of people's hands. And he made that clear both from an offensive standpoint and a special team standpoint that things need to be better. And yeah, Phil, he did kind of go out of his way a couple of times. He was talking about the defense at one point and said, well, if it sounds like I'm complimenting the defense and not the offense and special teams, that's because I am.
Yeah, exactly. He did bring up special teams. He said the kicking game has got to improve. And then we also heard from George Payton too a little bit too on special teams. What do you think about him sort of addressing that area too?
Yeah, he said that that's one of the areas where you can improve quickly. And clearly that was a focus for the Broncos. Tremont Smith, obviously a free agent addition. He said he's a guy, Sean Payton said he's a guy that can come in and give you 24 snaps a game. It's interesting because he's got a very calculated view of how each player is going to fit, what role they're going to play. I'm sure there'll still be competition, but this is not signing guys and just hoping to find a spot for them. Sean Payton has a very clear idea of what he wants to do with this football team, and part of that is special teams, getting better right away. He said it would be silly to bring in a new special teams coordinator, to bring in Mike Westhoff, the assistant head coach, and have those resources in place and then not have the right punter there in Riley Dixon, or not have the right holder, or not have the right returner. So, it's clear that the Broncos are prioritizing special teams.
Aric, we also heard it from him for the first time since we've been down here on Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton.
Yeah, that's right, Phil. I mean, a lot of rumors here for the last several weeks. And Sean Payton essentially came out and said, we have heard from people. George Payton then confirmed that he's taking calls as well. That's part of this job, is you're going to take calls from teams. But Sean Payton said there's no interest in moving these players. He told NFL Network yesterday the Broncos are in the business of acquiring talent. Phil, the bigger thing for me is you keep Courtland Sutton, you keep Jerry Jeudy, obviously Tim Patrick coming back from injury. You got to get these guys on the field together. I think since Jerry Jeudy was drafted, just 11 games where those three were all on the field together. You toss KJ Hamler in that mix, goes down to one game have those four guys been together. So I got to find a way to get them on the field. But yeah, it's very clear the Broncos like those players. George Payton said he's looking forward to seeing them on the field in this offense.
He said the offense isn't going to be like this guy's the X. This guy's they're not. He's going to play all over the place. He really likes the depth that they have at wide receiver. Anything else that you want to touch on, Aric, here from today? I mean, it was busy hearing from both the Paytons.
Yeah, both the Paytons. Peyton Manning?
Peyton Manning?
Around here somewhere? I haven't seen him.
Somewhere, probably.
Haven't seen him.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the Javonte Williams aspect of things from George Payton, he, at the Combine, he said we're kind of expecting him to be ready at the start of the season. A little bit of a different tone here today. It sounded like they're not sure yet. He still has a long way to go. Doing well in his rehab, but it was just a serious injury. And so we'll have to see if he's ready to go. They believe in Samaje Perine's ability to be a starter. If Javonte Williams is not ready to go right away, and we heard Sean Payton really talk about Perine and his ability to
built to last.
He's a tough guy. He can block. He can play well in the passing game. So an option there, but maybe Javonte Williams' status a little bit more uncertain than we thought it was.
One last thing maybe to get to from Sean Payton's availability during the breakfast. Not sure what he ate, but the Jarrett Stidham stuff. Said that he felt like Jarrett Stidham could become a starter in the NFL. Really spoke highly of Stidham. What did you think about that?
Yeah, some of these guys we focus on, and it's easy, right? A Mike McGlinchey, a Ben Powers, a Zach Allen. That's another thing, too, right? That it came out that the Broncos did offer Draymond Jones last season. Ultimately, a deal not getting done. But in terms of, Jarrett Stidham, maybe fans don't put a lot of attention on that. They just say, okay, that's your backup quarterback. And let's be clear, he is the backup quarterback.
Yeah.
But Sean Payton talked about it as there are a lot of guys that we knew could just be backup quarterbacks. This is a guy that we think has starting ability, could grow to have starting ability at some point in this league. And he said, he was a priority. They got him. They felt lucky to be able to sign him. Made it sound like there was competition from the Raiders to get him. And so, that was a little bit of a storyline there. Just maybe a little more interest in Jared Stidham than we expected.
Yeah, I think just the way he was talking about it, he said, hey, it was a priority to go out and get that backup quarterback. You don't typically hear that, especially with some of the more established veteran names that were on the market. Interesting to me, at least, hearing him say that Stidham was a priority. So anyway, those are our takeaways here from a busy Monday, hearing from both Broncos head coach Sean Payton and general manager George Paton. We'll be back with plenty more, one more day to go really here at the NFL annual meeting. For Aric DiLalla, I'm Phil Milani.